Hello and welcome to Impact Africa, our online talk show where we get to have conversations with diverse people and organizations who are impacting lives positively. In this episode today, we'll be focusing on youth to coincide with the South African Youth Month. This is your girl, Kemi Akiode Adebayo, Mama K, and in today's event, I've got a very dynamic young serial entrepreneur by the name of Roche Gamiet, who is a founder director of the Roche Group in Cape Town, South Africa. Roche, I know I got the surname wrong. So how do you pronounce
it?
It's
Roche Gamiet with a...
Exactly. Okay, all right. So where does the name come from?
So the name is actually, I think I did a bit of homework the other day. It was actually French descent.
Okay.
So there's no real reason for that. It's just my mom chose a French name, but I don't know
Right,
why.
right.
But my surname is Arabic because my father is Muslim, and he comes from Malay descent. His family, his mom, and all of that.
Okay.
I'm sure you know a bit about the history of South Africa.
I know a little bit, but I want to learn as well.
They came here once upon a time.
Once upon a
slaves,
time,
you
yes,
know,
that's right.
and
But he was first generation when he came here.
No, he was
before him.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So I think his mom was the one
who came in the first instance.
And then my parents. My mom is Christian. She's from South Africa. She's from Cape Town.
That's interesting. So a family where your dad is a Muslim, your mom is a Christian. So what are you? You have not figured it out.
I think that's the best way to answer. Yeah.
Okay.
So growing up, I was closer with my mom, and I always used to go to church with my mom and my grandmother.
Right.
But then there was a stage. I think I was about 10, 11, and at that stage, my dad sort of held me closer, and I went to mosque with him on Fridays.
Okay.
And I started liking the way that's being done.
Right.
Because I think it complements my personality a little bit more. I'm more of a quiet, reserved. I'm a little bit shy as well, so Islam is more reserved and sort of relaxed kind of religion, whereas Christianity, you know, we sing in the church and things like that, so that was not really my thing. So I think at this point I could say that I haven't decided where I'm at yet, but I hope to still find that part of myself.
So did either of them try to force you as a child or encourage you, or they left you know, that choice to you?
Yeah. So up until I was about 12, I think I could say that so before then, my mom would always make me go to church. I would need to go Sunday school and everything, and I hated it so much. But up until I was about 12, I think after that, neither my mom nor my dad said, you need to wake up. They left me sleeping. I could do whatever. And I think that's where I became lazy in the beginning.
Right.
Because, you know, as a young boy, you just want to sleep on a Sunday. You don't really want to
Tell me about it.
So, but then eventually I started going to church one time and mosque the other time, and I still couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. So I sort of just left.
So what position are you in your family?
I'm the oldest of two sons.
Okay.
So I've got a younger brother.
Right.
His name is Aiden.
Okay.
And, he's religion-wise the same as me. So
he's not either, but he's got experience of both.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So two of you growing up in a diverse, culture as well, because not just the faith, but in terms of the Malay influence how was that for you as well?
It was a little bit different because I couldn't relate much to my peers and people at school and kids at church or at mosque, for example. They all had sort of the one straight family line. They come from here, or they do this or they do that. But then I kind of had a family who did both. But it always was interesting for me, not so much to talk about, but more so just to look at how other people live. And I was always interested in seeing the way that people connect with their religions and how their families operate and things like that. But I could say that I'm happy with or having grown up in a mixed, diverse family.
Wow. So what are your favorite memories of childhood?
Favorite memories of childhood would probably be when my grandma was a
Part of
entrepreneur as well.
Okay. Oh,
So
you're
she's
okay.
a very
We're going to come to that, but
yeah.
and I want to know about Granny. So,
she's a very well-known
Right.
businesswoman in her community. and
Okay.
I grew up in this area called Manenberg. I'm not sure if you know.
I know Manenberg.
It's
Yeah.
a colored township. So she used to sell things here and there, at the stalls and fruits and things like that. So I always used to enjoy on a weekend going with my grandma to sell things for her. And the part that I would enjoy especially is when I would be left alone. And for example, my granny would go to meet somebody for 10 minutes and I would be there to man the shop. And I love dealing with the customers and doing my own thing. I felt like a boss in that.
And how old were you at that age, roughly?
I was probably about 10, 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're still very young, by the way. How old are you?
I'm 24 now.
You're 24.
Yeah.
So you're still very young, in terms of what you have achieved, over the years. So at the age of 10, you got into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Well, maybe go now to that side. So tell us about, your organization, the Roche Group. What do you do?
So the Roche
And
Group is...
how did you start that? How did you come about that?
So I'll take you through my journey
Please.
of entrepreneurship. So my after I sort of was introduced to sales, by means of selling things with my granny and so on, I was always close to my mom as well. Like on weekends, I would always follow her wherever she would go. And she always went to the hairdresser on Saturday mornings, and I hated waiting there so much. And I remember one time I was probably...
I've got 2 boys, so I can relate to all of that. Keep going.
One time I was probably about 12 or 13 years old, and I was just waiting there, and I remember asking my mom, because I was watching what's going on. At the ladies come in, they dye their hair, they use these towels. The towels get messed up, and they throw them on the floor and kick them one side and use new towels. So I was asking my mom, where do these towels go? What do they do with these towels? So she said, no, they throw them away and they buy new ones because it's too expensive to, refurbish or fix them. So I said, okay, can you ask them if they can donate it to us and give it to us? And she said, yeah, sure. So she asked the salon owner, please, can I have your towels? My son has a project he wants to do. That day, she was so upset that the car was full of towels. And I went home.
Oh, colors and probably stained our car as well.
I went home and I went around asking a couple of friends of mine's parents, do you know how to bleach this and change the color? And eventually I found a way to, bleach towels that were damaged with hair dye and then make them one color whether it was black, or re-dye them. And so that's what I kind of did. My first real business on my own, I think. I would collect towels from salons that were damaged. I would re-dye them and sell them to other salons and just sell them to each other at no price, because they didn't cost me anything. So there was no cost price. That was my first real step into entrepreneurship. And then I think the next couple of projects were just small things as I went into high school. Was t-shirt printing businesses and things of that nature. And then eventually, I think I was about 17, 18, I started a company called Yolk Media. I still have it today. And it's a B2B marketing company. And the reason I started it is because I knew that I needed to network with other business people. And what better way than to have a business that their clients are other businesses. So I knew that I could help other businesses by helping them get customers and sales, and that's exactly what I did. And I got clients from all different kinds of industries, security companies, restaurants, hotels, and all these things. And eventually we found our niche, and we became pretty well known in the hospitality industry. We worked with Protea Group, we worked with the Marriott Group as well. With all the big hotel names we eventually got into. And that was my first sort of formal office-based company.
Wow!
And,
what a journey! What an amazing journey! So let me take you a little bit back. So when you started with the business of the towels from the salons and so on, were you making money from it, or were you just doing it out of fun?
I was making money from it.
Okay, so you started it out based, I believe, on you seeing an opportunity and a need. So it wasn't the money that was the drive, because you probably didn't even know what you would make from it. Exactly.
I never knew what I could sell it for. I only figured all of the number things out afterwards. But it was mostly just a sort of a natural intuition to go into it and because my mom's in business, my grandma's in business, I've been watching this as a child, so I almost, just without me even knowing, I just got into it.
That's interesting. So what are some of your challenges, or what are some of your challenges been over the years as a young business person?
I can't say I've had too many, but the one at the top of my mind, I would say, is I've got a mild dyslexia, so I struggle to read and write. Obviously, that being said, you can predict that I never did too well at school either, so I was always the kid at the back, eating.
But you see, that's the interesting thing about life.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't have known if you didn't say that.
Yeah, of course.
And I think as well, I would want to know how you got that confidence, with, what you felt was a challenge to still go boldly into some of what you've done.
Yeah.
How?
I think it was a thing of coming to know myself, of self-awareness. So I didn't know what I was good at initially, and there was always this conversation going around. I remember towards the middle and end of high school, teachers asking us, what do you want to be when you finish
the
high
normal
school?
question I ask all the time as well, but now I'm like, no, I shouldn't be asking this.
And my classmates are saying things like accountants and lawyers, and I'm sitting there like, what can I become? I don't know. And I thought for a second, what am I good at? I'm good at selling things, and I'm good at convincing people to do things. So my first thought was I'm going to be a salesman, or I'm going to be a businessman. I don't think entrepreneurship was such a popular term back then. It was more so recently that people started to know of it. But that's more so when I started to know myself and dig into who I am and what I'm good at, and just forget about what I'm not good at and focus on the good, So, yeah.
We'll stop right now and be right back while you see some of the work of Roche. We'll be back. Roche, one of the things for me, what that you said, before the break, and I'm glad we showed some of your work and what you do and some pictures of, what you're about, is you mentioned the fact that entrepreneurship wasn't something, that was popular, way back then in South Africa, I would say. Although because I'm from Nigeria, we've always been used in terms of entrepreneurship, as you grow, just like what you said, your mom, your dad, you have family who are into it, and you're, kind of doing, encourage, into entrepreneurship. With the unemployment, rates in South Africa, that is really, really high amongst youth. How can one encourage young people, more to embrace that? Not just, when I finish school, I'm going to, they finish school, they want to have their CV and go look for jobs. Most of the time, they don't think about being able to provide the job. And I'm seeing that a lot. So, in your journey, what would have made a difference to the younger you? Like when you were saying people were like, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a, and I had the same exercise about a week ago in the township, and all of them, only one person said wanted to go into business. So how do we change that narrative?
I think it's a little bit difficult to answer because I don't want to speak on people's circumstances. But I think sometimes that people are just a little bit lazy to do something in the meantime while they getting ready to go into the next step of their life, whether they've graduated. I've heard so many stories of people graduating and sitting for a year without a job, but they're not using that year to do anything else other than just sit and wait.
Is it the environment as well? Could it be that?
I think it is.
Whereby the environment is not really pushing.
Exactly.
And what I'm finding out is, that, whereby not wanting to take risk, wanting to be just content, or feeling that, it won't make any difference anyway because the people before them maybe don't run a business, they've always worked. So they don't have role models in a way.
Precisely. I was just about to say that, like, I think it's a thing of a lack of role models as well, because if I remember back to my childhood, there was nobody really that I could look up to. If you type the area Manenberg into Google, you're only going to find bad things. Nothing good has ever come from there. So that
it has, but it doesn't get portrayed.
Exactly.
And the bad things overshadow the good.
Exactly. So that being said, I think it's also a lack of positive images in the lives of these people sometimes, and I think that if you put them there, if you show them what's possible, they might just get up and decide to do something. So
do you go back to Manenberg now? Or do you live in Manenberg still?
No.
Okay,
I live
so
in
you've
town.
moved out.
Yeah.
Of the area, because I had a conversation as well with another young person, and the role model issue was the same thing he mentioned. And one of the things he said though was people who now become successful in the township and in an area like that move out. So how do the young ones see, the ones who are growing there, see that success, that I could become a business person, I could become a doctor, because when you become a doctor, you move out of the area. How do we manage that? I know I'm asking a lot of really deep questions.
It's really difficult if you're not part of some kind of community activity, like being part of a church or something of that nature. But I would encourage people to stay a part of community activities, things like churches or even exercise, something as simple as exercise groups. But I often just go back to my area, like for simple things like the food or the car wash that I miss sometimes that, we don't have in town. Because the food back there is amazing. So I often go back and
you're supporting the business there when you do that.
Exactly, and I love seeing that things are all. It's sometimes not a good thing, but I love seeing that things are all the same as what I left them. It warms my heart to see the same people, just a little bit older. But I also, part of me wishes that becomes something else. That they had grown into something bigger. But it's not always something we can control. So
we'll come back to that. So let's go back to being a young entrepreneur. What are the pros and cons of being an entrepreneur? What are the good things to look forward to, and what are the not so good things to look forward to?
I never thought about that, because I never really thought that I had a choice to go into entrepreneurship or not. So for me, I don't think there was a decision that I would become an entrepreneur or not. It was just, that's all I knew how to do, so that's what I did. But I would say the pros is probably, and I can say that now, at least for me, like, you have freedom in a sense. You can wake up and almost do whatever you want to do. I mean, if you structure your business in the right way.
I like that bit.
But the cons is that with freedom, you almost certainly going to spend days working 24 hours anyway. So it's not to say that you're not going to, skipping a 9 to 5, you're saving yourself that many work hours, because there's going to be days you're going to work double or triple what you would have worked in a job. But I would say that entrepreneurship allows you to be who you want to be. I mean, it allows you to. I mean, if you're a charitable person, if you want to give back, nobody's stopping you from making money that you can give away to charities. The same goes for if you're not such a good person, you're going to do bad things with the money anyway. So I just believe that entrepreneurship helps you become a bigger version of yourself.
Awesome. So at 24, you've been so successful. I know you probably wouldn't want me to, highlight that, but from what I've read and seen, I believe you've made a big success out
Thank
of
you
your
so
life.
much.
Well done.
Thank you.
And what I want to ask is, what is the definition of success to you, in your own personal view?
Yeah, in the beginning, I think the definition changes as we change as people, because it's something close to us. So for example, right now, success for me would be to retire my mom. But 5 years ago, success for me would be to make enough money to pay rent and X, Y, Z. So I think success changes as we go along. But the most important thing is that it brings you a sense of happiness and contentment. So I think success is beyond money. It's beyond possession. It's more so what you could do to help other people improve their lives, not only by giving them things, but giving them opportunities as well to help them improve themselves, in the sense of maybe giving them jobs, or introducing them to the right people, and coming back a year later and seeing what they've done. That to me is really rewarding, and I could say that I think I've had a taste of success, at least in my life, with having experienced things like that, and having passed on knowledge, and yeah.
Right. So what would you say are some of the key steps to achieving success? Because like you said, and I found that really profound, the way you said, yeah, it changes, which, to be honest, I don't think I've looked at it in that way as well. The way you said, yeah, maybe 5 years ago, paying your rent and, and things like that. So what are the key steps to achieving success that you will recommend?
Yeah, I would say you need a blind sense of perseverance.
Right. You need a blind sense of perseverance.
It sounds silly, but
I like that.
If 9 people are telling you it's not going to work, you need to believe it's going to work, regardless of what these people are saying to you. And sometimes, in all honesty, it's not going to work, but just for your peace of mind, you need to try it. You need to get out there. You need to do your best and take a shot. So I would say another thing is hard work and determination. Sorry.
We'll be right back. So, what are some of the qualities, personal qualities, that has helped you as a person to get to where you are?
I think just touching on the previous point, I think you need to be persistent and persevere in everything that you do. I think they say this, and it's a cliche sometimes, but it's true that you can't take no for an answer. You need to keep knocking until either the door falls off or somebody answers.
I've never had that one yet. That the door falls off. I'm going to be using that. I remember you. Okay.
You need to work hard. You need to push. You need to. It really isn't gonna come easy.
Yeah.
There is no shortcut to success. You need to put in the work. You need to have felt like you've done something at the end of the day. I would also say that you need to be extremely honest, and you need to be extremely sincere with who you are, because in business your most important asset is your reputation.
Integrity.
Exactly. Yeah. If people like who you are and like the way you do things, most likely they're going to talk about you to other people. And it goes vice versa with the negative aspects as well. If they don't like how you are, that spreads even faster. So I truly believe that being the best that you can be and genuinely trying to help other people move up as well, will help build character as well as build a strong reputation. And it's definitely something that you need in business. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they've all helped you to get to where you are. So what motivates you? What keeps you going?
So being in all these different industries, something that's always been a motivator for me in the back of my mind is how much assets I own. And it's only become sort of a prominent thing towards the end, or towards the last couple of years, where I've started getting into property. But it's been more about how much property can I buy in a year, how much can I buy in 5 years, and can I get to this amount, and that sort of thing. So
more or less setting yourself goals.
Yes, exactly.
And trying to achieve them.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't want to say stepped away from business. Business is always going to be fun for me. That's why I buy these different projects and different companies and test myself and challenge myself to see if I can take them from failing to a success. But at the same time, property is the primary thing in my mind, and it's if you ask me what motivates me, it's probably to build a big enough property portfolio that will mean that my children's children will
Generation to come.
Exactly,
Yeah.
they'll never ever have to work. But not to say that they're not going to work.
I was just going to say that, because we don't want children
No.
who feel entitled or
No,
like,
no.
oh, father's money, let's
No,
spend.
no,
Yeah, they need to work for themselves.
Of course,
you know?
yeah.
But at least, you know, like you said, you can leave that legacy,
Of
you
course.
know, behind.
Of course.
Yeah.
I also think it's a thing of network. So as you grow into different businesses and grow into different roles, you meet different people as well. So me getting into property, I've now met friends who are in property as well. And you know, I might have a 3-story, 4-story building, but my friends got a 20, 30-story building. You know, some of my friends own some of the CBD
Wow.
buildings, and
Wow.
and I look at them sometimes at night because they're so big, and I you know, it's hard not to be motivated.
And you aspire as well.
Exactly,
You know, that,
you know.
okay, this is, you know, where I want to get myself. And
Exactly.
work hard, you know, as well
Exactly.
towards it.
Exactly.
So do you have any hobbies or interest or?
So I play tennis and golf.
Okay.
On
Oh.
weekends. And,
That's golf is a rich man's game. Sorry for the golfers out there.
no, I find it a very, very useful networking tool.
Okay. I know it is.
Yeah,
It is.
I'm very bad at the sport itself, I probably never ever win any games, but a good bunch of networking always comes out of it. So yeah, apart from that, I honestly just spend most of my time working.
I can imagine.
Whether it be at the beach or wherever, I just, you know, I
Right.
spend most of my time working. I went on a hike yesterday morning up Lions at Thursday morning, and I thought I was gonna relax, but the whole hike, phone calls and you know, doing work.
Still working.
Exactly. So there's
Well,
no,
you're in nature, so it's different.
exactly, yeah. But there's no real rest, as we call it. I think signing up for entrepreneurship also means that that's a sacrifice you're gonna have to
Yeah.
make. So.
So in terms of, I read a little bit about you that one time you did volunteer work with physically challenged children.
Yeah.
I think it was for a short time.
Yeah.
So is that something, you know, although I know you probably don't have time now,
Yeah.
but is that something you just decided to do, or
Yeah.
was there a reason, you know, for doing that?
No, it was something a group of friends and I decided to
Okay.
do. I think it was around the time of first year varsity.
Right.
I can't remember the reason, but I think if I remember correctly, a friend's friend had a mentally challenged sibling,
Okay.
and you know that had gone through some medical difficulty, and that just inspired us to, you know, go out and see what this is about and educate ourselves and not just look at it blindly and feel sorry for, because they hate that as well, you know, like the most respect you could pay to somebody is not to show them pity, but
Yeah.
to learn about what they're going through. So I felt really touched by that, and yeah, I went to go and learn about it. So
Okay. You shared earlier on about your challenge, you know, as well while growing up in terms of the mild dyslexia, you know. How or what advice would you give to a parent or even a child,
Yeah.
you know, on how to manage that?
Yeah.
Did you get support, or you just had to figure it out as well?
I didn't get as much support, I think, because I grew up in a low income household, so my parents were spending most of their time working away, and you know, with a lifestyle like that, you don't really get much time to pay attention to, you know, if your kid is doing bad at school, why is he? You just think he's just being naughty
Where is
or
the
whatever.
next meal going to come
Exactly.
from? That's
So,
your focus. Yeah.
Exactly. So I would say if you do have the luxury of time and you do live a decent life, and you are a parent to a child who you think might have mild dyslexia, you know, do simple exercises with them to try and figure out what their strengths and weaknesses are in terms of learning, and what they gravitate more towards. Like for me, for example, I can't listen to a lecturer talk for an hour. I can watch a video of movements and actions and things, and that makes more sense to me. But reading and listening to speeches is something that I can't do. So sometimes it's just that the way that we take in information is sometimes you know, better or worse depending on the way that our mind works, and I think parents sometimes don't understand that. Yeah.
So what did you study in school, university?
I went to UWC for a 4 or 5 year course for BCom Business Commerce,
Okay.
and I dropped out in the start of a second year.
Why did you drop out?
Well, I had this company, Yolk Media, and towards the end of first year, we got quite a decent tender offer with the government, with the city of Cape Town, and it was basically a simple decision of, am I going to study for the upcoming exams, or do I want to make
money,
Yeah,
lots
exactly.
of money.
Exactly.
Are you waiting for that?
Yeah, of course. So I decided to drop the pen and paper and just go into business, and
Okay.
yeah, that's really when it started for me.
So, do you think you might go back to study more, or
No.
that's it? You're done.
No, I'm done.
So, what advice when your children come?
Yeah.
Because this is something as well that we've heard so many times,
Yeah.
and I know there's always a debate
Yeah.
as well. And I heard that you like debates as
Yeah.
well. So this is a debate that we always have. That a lot of successful people, as the world knows them, they're like, oh, they dropped out, or they dropped out of school, and blah blah blah. So education at the moment is not relevant. Would you say that is the case, or
Yeah,
would if your child comes to you when you do have a child, would you say it's okay
Yeah,
because I did it, or would you
Yeah.
say no, you need to finish?
No, I don't think I would ever be as strict as to say they have to
Okay.
finish school. I think I would completely understand in the same way. Look, my mom dropped out of school in grade 9 as well. So
Okay.
when I took the news to her, she wasn't too shocked by it. She was
Okay.
like, okay, it's fine. So I think having that having that experience in my life, I don't think I would pressure my kids into any tertiary education. If they want to go whatever route they please, whether it be artistic or something that has nothing to do with money, I'm perfectly fine with it. I think that's a luxury I want to be able to afford my kids is to do something with their lives that doesn't
love.
That they love, and that doesn't depend on them making a salary or not, that they could just focus on being happy. I think that's something I never got to do as a kid. I was more worried about where's the next meal gonna come from, like you said, and that gives you a hustler's mentality. So money becomes a priority then. So I would want the opposite for my kids.
Okay.
It would be a dream for them to work with me one day, but if it's not the case, I wouldn't.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
What I always tell people, now is because I'm experiencing that with my parents,
Yeah.
that you need to start your children young.
Mm.
If you want them to work with you, not force it on them, but let them understand, what you're doing,
Yeah.
and let it be meaningful to them, so that you have a kind of a succession plan.
Yeah.
Because if not, you just find out that you've done all these things, nobody to carry on.
Exactly.
But anyway, we will stop right now and we'll be back. Earlier about the challenges South Africa is facing, and I'm sure across all Africa and across all the world, in terms of unemployment, poverty, living conditions and things like that. But let's bring it back now to South Africa. What would you say are some of the solutions to some of these issues that we keep having?
I think for me, the one thing that at least I could say that it's affected me in my life is I think the quality of education, I think, has remained the same regardless of how much life itself has changed. So things are changing in the modern life so much, and new technologies are coming about, but we're reading the exact same textbooks, and we're reading the
I've
exact
heard that
same
a lot
material.
of times.
So I think we're missing out on a big opportunity where there are kids in school that would have been super passionate about technology that are being robbed of these opportunities because of our education system and the lack of growth in the system. And I think a large reason for that also is unfortunately the corruption in our country. I think that steals many opportunities from us that sometimes we don't even see. So
It's the same thing I'm hearing. You see, the thing is, this conversation I've been having, especially with the young people, I've heard, about this education one, and I don't know where or how we can tap into changing it, because is anybody listening,
Exactly.
to that? Because like you said, same textbook, but things have changed.
Yeah.
And okay.
And as far as simple life skills as well, I was
Yeah.
talking to a friend the
Yeah.
other day. She was buying her first apartment, and she came to me for help with the process. And I was like, I was reminded of myself as like why I dropped out is because the education system doesn't teach you things that you need in life. How to do your taxes, how to buy a property, how to save, how to do this and that. But they teach you things that you don't even need. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Okay, now to my final question. And I'm definitely going to be back to talk about all this stuff. I think we can have part 1, part 2, and part 3, as long as you give me time to keep coming. What kind of future would you like to see for our young people in South Africa?
I would like an environment where doing or choosing what you want to go into some days is a lighter decision, something that you don't feel so much pressure on from your family, from your peers, or even from the system. And by the system I mean, the price of education is also quite expensive in our country. Universities like UCT, for example, where you're spending 100,000-200,000 a year just to study. So you can't blame a child for making a rash decision and studying something that they thought they would like and then changing their mind after. If the pressure is so immense, of course they could make mistakes. I would just like to see also an easier business environment, an easier or more opportunities for kids and youth to learn about business, whether it be in school or after school centers, or whether it be through government or the private sector, whatever it is. I would just like to see more and more activities where kids are learning about business and how to do their own thing, instead of waiting for an opportunity to come by and pay them a salary. So
why I was smiling there?
Yeah.
I have a request on camera. Because what you just said there, because the government I don't think can do this alone.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of non-governmental organizations, non-profit, charity and so on, who are trying their best, especially in the disadvantaged communities. We recently launched a young people entrepreneurship project in Delft. And we're looking for mentors.
Okay.
And people to come and talk with them, advise them, and so on. And we're hoping, it's a pilot one, we're hoping to take it to other areas.
Yeah.
Will it be something? I know you're busy, but what I've found out with busy people like me is we're busy, but if you want to do something,
of course,
you will make the time to do it.
Yeah.
So would you mind being a mentor for us?
I would love to, yeah.
Okay,
I would love
thank
to.
you.
You're welcome.
You heard that, people. I'm building my mentors, because part of what you sell is the role models.
Yeah.
People able to see somebody of their color,
of course,
who is doing well, who is young, or who is not color alone, but woman, or somebody with disability, or somebody, whatever, but somebody they can look up to.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
thank you for accepting right out there. And I'm going to end there now. So in closing, let's, what are your kind of final thoughts or advice that you want to give our young people, especially it being the Youth Month in South Africa? So I want you to just give our young people any advice.
Some advice. So I would say, instead of saying go into business or learn about business, I would say rather learn about yourself and learn about who you are and what you're good at and what you like and what makes you happy and what brings you joy in life. It could be simple things like whether it be sports or whether it be this and that. You just find something that you are passionate about and figure out whether there are ways to make money within that thing, and if there is, then you're very, very lucky, because then you get to spend your life doing something you love and getting paid for it as well. So that's my advice for you.
Wow, that is deep. Thank you so much,
You're
Roche.
welcome.
That has been fantastic and amazing. I've learned a lot. I wanted to dig deeper into all the stuff, in terms of, the business, the future,
Yeah.
what your plans are, where you see yourself, and a lot of other stuff. How do you buy property? How did you get into
Yeah,
that?
there's a lot.
So there's a lot. That's why I
Yeah.
said part one, part two,
Yeah.
part three. So we'll be back,
Of course.
just to get, that more insight,
Yeah.
into your journey, because it's through people like you sharing your stories and what you do
Yeah.
that others are able to be given hope
Yeah.
for the future. So you heard him, learn about yourself, do what you enjoy doing, and there's a lot, packaged in there. Blind sense of perseverance, hard work, the freedom, you will get from working for yourself. Don't take no. What was that phrase you used? Break the door.
Oh, yeah. Keep knocking.
Keep knocking until the door breaks.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. I'm going to use that word. Keep knocking until the door falls. Yeah, there you go. Well, I believe that's all we have time for. And thank you. I know we're in one of your properties in town, which is a beautiful view. And I've had a fantastic time. We've got the Table Mountain for you all that don't know South Africa. The Table Mountain is right behind us. It is one of the wonders of the world. So don't listen to what they're saying that South Africa is dangerous. Nah, they don't want you to come and enjoy what we're enjoying here.
Exactly.
So we're on the rooftop right in town, enjoying the views and watching the sun go down. It's been a fantastic time. Thank you till next time. This is Mama K, and looking forward to having you on. Remember, God is love. Stay safe. Love you guys.